I'm Mike Lamneck. Thanks for tuning in to Music Meanderings. Please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video and comment below. Well, in 1980, Boston guitarist Barry Goudreau released his first and only solo album, self-titled. Now, it didn't sell real well at the time, and why is it still mostly unknown today? Boston released their second album, Don't Look Back, in 1978, and fans thought they had to wait a long time for that record, but they didn't know they'd have to wait 8 years for the third album. Barry Goudreau got itchy to do something and enlisted a couple of his Boston bandmates to record a solo album. Now, in fairness, Tom Scholz told them he was taking a year off, and he suggested, hey guys, if you want to do a solo album, this would be a good time to do so. Barry's solo album was infused with some very familiar sounding guitar tones and song structures that were at times so close to sounding like Boston that Tom Scholz was a little angry about it. He thought it sounded too much like Boston. In response to that, Epic Records pulled the album. So I was fortunate to find one in a $1 bin in very good shape, and if you ever see it out and about, I would certainly pick up a copy of Barry Goudreau's solo album. It did sour his relationship with Tom Scholz, though. The guys tried to get back together in the 90s, but the old feud reignited and they didn't stay together very long. But back to the album, Barry Goudreau in a self-titled solo album out of 1980. From the opening riff of that first track, Hard Luck, it's apparent this album is going to be a Boston-sounding album. And you add Goudreau's bandmates, of course, Sib Hashin on drums, and 6 of the 9 songs being sung by Boston vocalist Brad Delp, along with some excellent production co-produced by Barry Goudreau himself, and you've got a winning combination. Now, in kind of an ironic twist, Fran Cosmo, who would later join the ranks of Boston, is also on this album on 3 tracks, and him and Barry Goudreau were very good friends. You can hear Fran Cosmo on the tracks Nothing to Lose, Leaving Tonight, and the album closer, Cold, Cold World, which is personally one of my favorite tracks on the album. Now, the side one closing track, I'm really surprised didn't get some classic rock album play when it came out in 1980, because it's got that classic Boston sound. It's called Mean Women Blues, and it's a up-tempo blues rocker. Now, the single chosen off the album was the second track on the second side. It was called Dreams. In fact, if you look on YouTube, you can find there was a produced video for that song as well, with Brad Delp on lead vocals. Sounds very Boston-like, but it also failed to crack the top 100. In fact, to me, it's very confusing why this Boston sound-alike anthem didn't get more attention. On his official website, BarryGoudreau.com, Goudreau says the record label campaign ad for his album stated, millions of people have heard his guitar. We would like to introduce you to the owner. And again, Scholz thought Goudreau was being pushed as the force behind Boston. Took offense to that. Shortly after, Scholz announced to the band that he would no longer be working with Goudreau, and the album was pulled, which could be why we haven't seen it more in stores. Goudreau is very transparent in saying that if he had it to do all over again, he would probably do it differently. Now, this would go on to be Goudreau's only solo album. However, he had some other projects. Orion the Hunter released one album in 1984, which is an excellent record, though doesn't sound as much like Boston, has more of a dated kind of 80s rock sound to it. And then he would team back up with Brad Delp for 2 excellent albums in the 90s that do very much have a Boston flavor to them, and that was Return to Zero, RTZ. Well, what do you think? Please comment below. Is the Barry Goudreau solo album a lost Boston album? What do you think of it? And thank you for taking the time to watch Music Meanderings. Please subscribe to the channel and have a blessed day.